Hey, welcome into Prize Picks on 5 here on the 5 Reasons YouTube channel. I'm Ethan Skolnick. You can follow me at Ethan J. Skolnick at 5 Reasons Sports. I got David Eversole. You can follow him at David W. Eversole. I got Eric Wadicki. You can follow him at Eric Wadicki. We are going to tell you about Prize Picks here. Use the code 5, F-I-V-E. Get your initial deposit matched up to $100. You don't need to play it all at once, but you'll get the money if you put the money down at the beginning. So you put down anywhere between 10 and 100, they will match it. Again, there are no rollovers. This is not a trick. It's not a ruse. It is legal in the state of Florida and most other states. So check it out, prizepicks.com, or download it from the Google Play Store or the Apple App Store. All right, we got a big NFL weekend coming up. There's some NBA games as well. We were going to do Heat Jazz today, but unfortunately, since the whole Heat roster is sick, they don't really know who's going to play and who's not. So just check our Twitter feeds as it gets closer to the 5 o'clock Eastern tip, and you will see who we like in that one. But we're going to get into actually a pretty good game, actually. Lions and Cowboys, a couple of teams that are in the mix there in the NFC, with obviously the Eagles, the 49ers, and a couple of others. We saw the Cowboys last week against the Dolphins, losing 22-20. I'll start here. I'm going to start on the Cowboys side, and I was going to play a couple of unders. I think Eversole, you've got me playing them on the NBA side now. I'm going to go under on a couple of guys. I'm going to go under on Dak's passing yards. If you look at his recent games, been under three straight, 285 and a half. I mean, been close, relatively close, but against Miami, it did look like when they took away the first read, he really wasn't going anywhere else. And I'm going to actually play off of that again today. So I'm going to go under 285 and a half for Dak. I understand Detroit can be thrown on, but I don't think he goes over that today. I'm actually going to go under on CeeDee Lamb's receptions. I wouldn't touch the yards, but I think the receptions were 7.5. So I feel like, yeah, pretty significant number there. So he's gone under 4 of the last 5. He had the big start against Miami, but they kind of figured him out after that. So I'm going to go under on him today. I feel like they're going to rely on the running game a little bit more than usual. So those are my 2 plays on the Cowboys side. What do you guys like on the Cowboys side? David?
On the Cowboys side, playing back to the maybe taking CeeDee Lamb away a little bit, I like Tony Pollard over in receiving. It's only 15 and a half. He's been typically a big part of the passing game, but over the last 2 games, he's only had 4 targets. I feel like they're going to want to get him involved more. Detroit's run defense is very solid, 4th in the NFL in yards allowed. So I think Dallas is going to have to put some long drives together and move the ball on 3rd down. And I feel like Pollard's going to be involved in the passing game a little bit more. So I really like him over 15 and a half receiving yards.
Eric, what do you see with the Cowboys?
Yeah, so I like a couple of plays with the Cowboys. First, I'm going to stick with the theme of the unders. I like Dak Prescott to go under 17 and a half rushing yards. This is a Detroit Lions team that we've talked about it all year long with them. Their one flaw is kind of they can't rush the passer all that well. And Dak is a guy that he's not really looking to run on the first play. He's play from the pocket and then run if he has to. I don't think he's going to have to run today. And then additionally, I'm going Jake Ferguson over 7.5 receiving targets. He's got 8 each over the last 4 games, and he's kind of emerging as the number 2 guy. And if CeeDee Lamb doesn't get as much attention today, or if the Lions are super focused on trying to eliminate him, I could see Ferguson getting a ton of looks his way.
All right, so Ferguson over. You can see over 4 straight there. I mean, pretty consistent. 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8. So there he's at. All right, let's go over to the Detroit side. Jared Goff, I think, has fooled some people lately because he started going under a lot and then he went over, and he kind of went against the Sharps here a little bit. You can see the numbers 263 and a half. Would you guys play anything on Goff, Eric?
If I were to play anything on Goff, I think I would play completions rather than pure yardage there. He's gone over that number semi-consistently, I think 3 out of the last 5 games. And this is a Dallas Cowboys defense that still is, worthy of some respect. So 263 is just a number that I'd be a little hesitant to touch with Goff.
What do you think, David?
I think that Detroit's going to be able to move the ball through the air a little bit, but they're going to lean on the running game more. So you and I both love Gibbs, in any way, shape, or form. But I'm going to look at the demon play for Gibbs on receiving yards at 39 and a half. He's just such a big focal point on the offense, like in certain situations. He's going to get involved in the passing game. He's been kind of up and down, but he's still been hovering around that 30, 40-yard mark. So,
Yep.
I mean, his normal line is 25.5. I took a little bit of aggressive play and played him over that demon. Or you could also look at him over the 0.5 rushing receiving touchdowns.
Yeah, I'm gonna go over on the rushing with him. It's kind of week to week. I've won on him 4 straight weeks, so I'm probably jinxing it, but he's been one of my better plays. It's funny. It's kind of like the Hawkes thing in the NBA, like where it's. I mean, look at
Fantasy
that.
score, he's been unstoppable. On fantasy score
Yeah,
straight, he's just been.
yeah. It almost makes the most sense, honestly, to just play that. I feel like because uh, that way you hit a little bit of both depending on how they use him. I mean, whatever they're using him, they should be using him more, in my view. So, barring an injury, I think. I mean, look at the numbers. I mean, way over the 14 there. 25, 16, 21 and a half, 25, 29. That feels fairly safe there. All right, so that's Detroit and Dallas. Let's get to some of the other NFL stuff because I know David, you had a few that you liked tomorrow.
Yeah, there was a few. There's a lot of interesting demon plays on the board. If you look at tomorrow's games in particular, you got Tyreek Hill over 0.5 touchdowns, rushing and receiving. So that was on the board as a D. And now that's just a straight play. I got it on that. Actually, they moved that back down to a regular play. That was a demon play on the board earlier. So you got to really keep checking back in terms of these projections because a lot of them change on the fly. But tomorrow, Tua, if you're looking at Tua, he's right now at 299.5 on the demon play. But I like him over 4.5 rushing yards. That's like a sneaky play for me with Tua. I know you kind of could just be hit or miss, but Baltimore's got the number one pass rush in the league in terms of production. He's going to have to move with his feet at least once. So I'm going to take him over the 4.5. And I would even maybe take a shot at him on 299 on the demon.
Yeah, I think people may stay away from it because Waddle's out. But that hasn't really mattered. It's been interesting. Like when Tua hasn't had Waddle or Hill, he's actually put up bigger numbers at times. One or the other tends to spread the ball out a little bit more. I'm looking at like the Durham Smythe play tomorrow. Like that. Like I feel like there's going to be. He has to throw the ball. Everybody's like he's not going to throw against Baltimore. I mean, look what he did last year. It all came in the fourth quarter, but look what I mean, 18.5 receiving yards for Durham Smythe, and that you can see them featuring him a little, right? Yeah, a little bit more. So I'm gonna jump on that one before it goes away. Eric, anything you see tomorrow that jumps out to you? We'll probably do another ep tomorrow just to kind of get people ready, but just to give people a head start. Oh, by the way, Jason Sanders at 1.5 field goals made looks better than it used to, doesn't it?
It certainly does. I'll give you that for sure.
They're not cashing in the red zone, so I mean it depends on kind of that factor.
Yeah.
In this game.
That for sure. We'll do a couple Dolphins props here before we go. Mostert 45.5 rushing yards. Eric, over or under?
My gut says go over on that. Go over on the Mostert rushing yards.
I think so too. And then what was the other one I saw that
half a touchdown for Raheem. I mean, you could kind of lock and load that right
there.
Yeah,
that's
It's unbelievable his productivity, like just consistently over the season. I mean, him and McCaffrey.
I mean, he's going to get his one, right? Him and McCaffrey, and he's noticing McCaffrey. I don't know if you saw his tweet this week where McCaffrey had a couple, and so he was like, "I can't shake this guy." So it's an awareness, and McDaniel's like that. We know that. Like he's very sentimental about these kind of things. Like he'll know, and if they get near the goal line, he will actually, if he's got one choice or the other, he will go with Mostert. Let's just look real quick, and then we'll do more of this tomorrow. But let's look real quick at the Lamar Jackson props. I'm just curious what you guys think of him as we go into tomorrow. And obviously, MVP in some ways is at stake tomorrow. 231.5 passing yards. The whole Dolphins secondary is questionable. Holland's questionable, Howard's questionable, and Ramsey's questionable. What do you think?
That being said, it might be an over, but I look at him on the touchdown plays.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Two
see
passing
that.
touchdowns.
1.5 pass TDs. I mean, that's an aggressive play on the Demon at 1.5 pass TDs. But I feel like that's very in line. Zay Flowers' status is kind of up in the air, so
Yep.
they're banged up too on the
If
offensive
it,
side a little
I
bit.
will say though, if because I saw Zay Flowers was still on the board for the Demon props. Isaiah Likely is also there for a Demon for a half rushing receiving. That might be one. If you think Zay isn't going to play, that's one I would hop on before it goes away.
Yeah, he's been going to him quite a bit lately. I even like the 42.5 receiving yards a lot, actually. I might jump in on those early. All right, so some of the plays for tomorrow we looked at: Tyreek over half a touchdown, Mostert over half a touchdown, Smythe over 18.5 receiving yards, Sanders, we'll see, maybe on the 1.5 field goals. And on the Baltimore side, Isaiah Likely is a good play. I think we all sort of agree on Jamar Gibbs at this stage. And again, I'm playing Dak under today, which means he'll throw for 350. For Eric, for David, use the code 5 FIVE. And again, check out the Twitter feeds. We will post when the Heat actives become a little clearer. Still waiting on Jimmy Butler, who's questionable. Have a good day, everybody.